57 was the year that it all began, starting with Hammer Films hiring Jimmy Sangster, and he would write a script that would change the game and bring Hammer-Rannoch stars worldwide acclaim. Cushing was the first of the actors signed to Terence Fisher's The Curse of Frankenstein, and with one film they changed the course of horror history. Peter Cushing's Doctor and the Monster, played by Christopher Lee, and literally they brought horror back from the dead, shot to the eye with a splatter of red, the first Technicolor horror, and they splashed the screen with Kensington gore and lashings of green. Cushing was mean, more snide than Colin Clive, a subtler performance than "It's alive!" But then Karloff, he left big shoes to fill, one of the hardest reboots to choose to film, and while Cushing brought sinister charm and eloquence, these creature scenes leave a lasting resonance. When the relevance of old school horror was fading, Hammer brought it up to speed when it needed saving, and Lee's amazing, he's spectacular, so it stands to reason that he should play Dracula. 1958, a year later, and the guys are back with Peter Cushing as the one-man wise to Drac. He's still a doctor, but he's the man helping. First it was the Baron, and now it's Van Helsing. A fight to the death, and the stakes are high. One mistake, he'll die, so he takes his time, and he waits for life, knowing vampires can't handle it, finishing him off with a cross made of candlesticks. Sangster's script dripped with finesse, and a little bit of blood from his victims next, but which was next to follow up this big success, because Chris was set to star in many pictures yet. There are countless counts, but Lee's better than most. Inconceivably, he even beat Bela Lugosi. Well, I mean, mostly, and he comes out at night. Pallid and ghostly, see him once and he'll die, embodying the creature from Stoker's mind, terrifying with a minimum of spoken lines, but he broke the silence with his victim's screams, a wildly different animal from Victor's beast, but Chris can squeeze himself to fit the picture's needs and always brings us into gravitas to lift the scene. It doesn't matter if they're starring in a serious story or a tacky bit of horror that's just silly and gory. They were bringing the A game to the B movies. If they are the main names you can see through these questionable flicks with ludicrous scripts, not so special effects and gratuitous tits. It's ruined a bit when all of these two are just shit, but they made over 20 movies, quite a few are legit. Like The Hound of the Baskervilles, one of the best. Dr. Terry's House of Horrors on the Horror Express. If the creeping flesh makes you scream again, it's nothing but the night, the big heat then. There are other films of their own independent careers. Christopher Lee's work spans 70 years. But by the 1990s, Peter's health declined, and he died, leaving behind 6 Frankensteins. He lived a long life, running the same lines, but Christopher Lee played Dracula 9 times. Sublime as he was, the role, it took a toll. You could even say it took a little bit of his soul, for it led to a lifetime of typecasting the villain of the limelight. Quite nasty and fast, he became the go-to Brit for when you needed someone evil for your monster hit, and he rocks it, even when he's barely trying. 6'4" with a roar that could scare a lion. Channeled in the devil, he could chill your bones, delivery on the level of James Earl Jones. He just wanted the opportunity to be good once. Peter was seen as sweeter, so he could jump from one to the other. He played plenty of bad ones, but he also got to save the day, achieving a balance that Lee never reached, though he wasn't a bitter man. His proudest work was the seminal Wicker Man. No, not the Bees, not the Nicolas Cage one. The 70s, with Lee as an evil pagan, didn't need remaking, and they really fucked it. But back to the reputation that Lee was stuck with. Here's an example of what I'm trying to say. Tolkien himself shows him as Gandalf the Grey, because they were friends, and he surpassed the villain. Then when they made it, they gave the part to Ian McKellen, and yeah, he's compelling, but Chris not only lost out on it, he was cast as an evil wizard, which seems cruelly ironic. He is brilliant as Saruman, like no one else could be. I just think his value never got the chance to be good. Lee was always successful, so he couldn't complain. It's a shame, though, he rarely got to show his range, and so it came to be that he could join the fray in a galaxy far, far away. Now, Peter did the same when it was new and hopeful, but Chris got there late to a slew of woeful CGI battles and stunts with Yoda. The Frank Oz puppet might have won me over, but the fun was nowhere. This was episode 2. They dragged in Chris to play Count Dooku. Even 50 years later in a sci-fi fantasy, they called him the Count, only guy in the galaxy. But Lee, he agreed. How did they give thanks? Playing pranks on him. They gave Yoda fangs. He was 80 years old. That is pitiful, please. Don't try to make fun of Sir Christopher Lee. But Peter, he got it even worse than Chris did. That shit they did in Rogue One, that was twisted. The man is dead, let him rest in peace. You can't just CGI him into the Death Star scenes. It's messed up, please. Just leave the dead be. Though I see the irony given the cinematic library. It's curious a man who played Frankenstein will be brought back to life by a man's design. As a fan's desire, I can see the thinking to it, but that doesn't make it okay to then actually do it. He's not a property, he was a noted actor, and he's been immortalised without motion capture. But that doesn't matter, they were both delightful. I just found all that upsetting, I don't mean to be spiteful. Their impact extends beyond those years, and in footnote in both of their prolific careers. The very finest actors and the best of men, they were thespians and they were the best of friends, and the rest depends. If you have a taste for these old horror movies that are laced with cheese and pasty fiends, they're not for everyone, but I've been watching Hammer Horror since I was very young with my mum, so for me it's just in my blood. These terrible, whether or not you think they're fun, you simply cannot ignore the important legacy of these performers, nothing short of legendary. It's a given, you don't need to listen to me, just go watch some Peter Cushing, Christopher Lee, rest in peace. Thank you.